What's going on there, YouTube, and welcome back to another comic book video. Okay, so we're going to continue our coverage over Batman Knightfall, and really, we're covering the preludes that lead into Batman Knightfall, and this should be our last video that actually leads into Knightfall. Our next video should be the early chapters of the actual event. Now, with that being said, remember that this is a Batman who is mentally and physically drained. And the reason why, because this man keeps trying to push himself past a certain limit that his body and mind can actually handle. And the reason why, because he's trying his best to protect Gotham, to be there every night to protect Gotham. But also because he's trying his best to balance the life of Bruce Wayne and the life of Batman as well. And that's the problem right there. Because when he tries, it just gets too out of control. And so now he's physically and mentally drained. Now, he also has a hard time getting some sleep as well, because every single time he tries to rest, he believes that he's wasting time not being Batman to help protect Gotham. Now, something else I should also mention is that Bane is out there already. Bane is studying Batman, trying to understand who Batman truly is, so that when the time comes, he'll be able to take the man down. Now, the first book I want to cover is Batman number 489. Now, this book right here is where we see Bane really introducing himself to the Bat family, really just Robin and Azrael. Now, when it comes to Bane in this chapter, he does break the arm of Killer Croc. Now, when it comes to Killer Croc, the world believed that he was dead for the last 6 months. And here's why. So 6 months ago, there was this great flood across Gotham City where all the tunnels just flooded with water. And so when it came to Killer Croc and Batman, while they were battling, the flood hit the tunnels, washing away Killer Croc. And everyone truly believed that he had died in that great flood. But here we are now, 6 months later, and we see that he is, well, somewhat okay. Now, when it comes to Killer Croc, he's now having visions of his past, and that's a huge problem. You see, when it comes to Killer Croc, he has this medical condition where he slowly turns into a crocodile over time. And so because of that, over the years, he had always been picked on by his peers. And so when it comes to Croc, as he's just walking around trying to find food or whatever, he keeps seeing visions of his past where he was picked on, hated on, laughed at. And so because of that, he's always enraged. He's always getting mad at the smallest things happening near him. Now we jump back over to Bruce Wayne, and you have Bruce meeting up with Sandra Kinsolving. Now, we have talked about Sandra before. You see, she's currently helping out Tim Drake's father in physical therapy. And really, it was Tim who told Bruce, hey, why don't you go pay a visit over to Sandra? Maybe Sandra can actually help you when it comes to the idea of helping your mind and body relax. And so you have Bruce pay her a visit. Now, Bruce tells her like, hey, my mind and body, it is screaming out for me to rest. But unfortunately, I cannot rest. Now, he also says that it could be his anxiety. He's at an all-time high now because he is so worried about so many different things that he feels like he can't rest until he actually take care of those things. And so for Sandra, she says, listen, I'm going to give you some meds. Those meds should just knock you out instantly and help you rest and hopefully help your mind and body heal. But after that, we got to sit down and talk to one another and actually work through your problems. Because if you're not able to work through your problems, those anxiety attacks are going to stay around. They're going to keep happening over and over and over again, to the point where your body and mind will no longer be able to get the rest like it should. And so you have Bruce agree to work with her to get him back on track. Now, getting back over to the Killer Croc plot line, you have Killer Croc just out there causing havoc across Gotham because every single time somebody sees him, well, they freak out and run away because how scary he looks. But also, he keeps having visions of his past where you had all these different people make fun of him, were scared of him, or just rude to him. And so anytime an innocent person just walks away or runs away, he gets angry and start throwing things across the city. And it's being reported on all news in Gotham City. Now, Bane is seeing the news, and Bane wants to know everything about Killer Croc. Now, Bird, one of his lackeys, tells him like, hey, Killer Croc tried to become a crime lord in Gotham City. And at first, it seemed like he might be able to actually achieve it. But Batman stepped in and took him down. And for Bane, it's kind of like, if Batman is able to take him down, then I have to prove to myself and others that I can do the same thing as well and take down the Killer Croc as well. But like I said earlier, we're gonna see Bane being able to introduce himself to the Bat family, but not to Bruce Wayne, to Robin and also John Paul Valley. Because remember, right now, when it comes to Batman, he just met Sandra. She gave him medicine. So when it comes to Robin and Alfred, they're watching the news. They see Killer Croc on a rampage, but they can't ask Bruce for help because he took the meds and Homeboy's out like a light right now. And so it comes down to Tim Drake. But here's the problem though. You see, for Tim though, he realized that if he goes out there by himself to take down Killer Croc, other bad guys are going to wonder, where is Batman? Is he no longer around? And it could bring more chaos into the actual city. And so for Robin, he turns over to John Paul Valley. Say, hey, John Paul, I need you to wear this outfit. You are going to be Batman for tonight. Now, when it comes to Robin, John Paul Valley, Batman, and also Bane, they all arrive at the same time, but really Batman and Robin get there first, which means they're the first ones to go up against Killer Croc. And that is a huge problem because it really shows that John Paul is not truly ready to become Batman just yet, because when he tries to go up against Killer Croc, Croc is able to take down John Paul Valley. Now, you could say the reason why he failed is because while fighting against Croc, he saw Bane on one of the TVs in a nearby store. And so when he saw Bane on that TV screen, wondered who in the world is that guy right there? He got distracted, which didn't allow Killer Croc to move in and grab John Paul Valley and almost take him out. Now, the reason why I say almost is because you have Bane arrive. Now, once Bane arrives, it's just him and Croc going at it. And really, it's more Bane being able to beat down on Croc. But Croc truly believes at first that he should be able to take down Bane because he almost took down Batman in the past multiple times. And matter of fact, he just took down this Batman right here. So he has all the confidence in the world to go up against Bane. That was a huge mistake. Guys, let me tell you, Bane said, son, let me show you why I'm called Bane. This man beat down on Croc. This man broke Croc's arm and said, that's why I'm Bane. And that's why you should not came at me like that. And you have Bane show that he is actually capable to take down Killer Croc just like Batman did in the past. But really, he did a better job. Now, we could all say Bane got lucky. Why? Because he used Venom to make himself stronger. But at the same time though, Bane did take down Croc in a matter of seconds. But the last page of this chapter, you have Bane turn around and say, I know that you are not the real Batman. Once the real one comes back, that is when I'll come back and basically deal with you guys. But for right now, I want nothing to do with you because you're in the outfit, but you're not the man who holds the mantle at this moment. But now we have to jump over to Batman number 490, where we actually pick up with Bruce Wayne waking up after taking the meds. Now, when it comes to Bruce, he realized that his body is not completely rested. Like, yes, he did get a good night rest, but his body is still not completely healed up yet. But also because the medicine, he still feels a tad bit drowsy. But he also realized that the bat signal is up, which means he's being called for assistance. Now, let's not forget that earlier, John Paul Valley was pretending to be Batman to help out Tim Drake. And so you have John Paul and Tim heading over to where Jim Gordon is at, except they're stopped by Bruce Wayne. Because Bruce says, listen, I want to say thank you for helping me out, but I also want to inform you that Jim Gordon will figure out that you're not me in a heartbeat. So John Paul, go ahead and go back home. Tim and I will go meet up with Jim Gordon. Now, once you have Batman and Robin arrive, you do have Jim inform them that, hey, listen, the Riddler is back. Now, when it comes to this Riddler story, it's not really about the riddles. It's really more of Bane continuing to study Batman, to test Batman. And so now he's going to use the Riddler. So while you have Jim telling Batman and Robin like, hey, the Riddler is back, and so while you have Jim telling both Bruce and Tim about the Riddler, you have Bane and his crew listening in from a distance. Now, when it comes to Bane, he says, listen, I'm going to study Batman. I'm going to allow Batman to figure out the riddle. But after that, I am then going to make Batman fight against the Riddler, who will then be pumped up with a lot of venom to see if Batman is able to handle someone who's on venom. Now, you do have Robin inform Batman about Bane by telling him like, hey, listen, I met this guy named Bane. He automatically knew that John Paul Valley was not you. But on top of that, he is looking for you. And for some reason, it seems like he wants to take you down. The reason why, we have no idea. But he's coming after you. Now, you have Bruce tell Tim, okay, you know what? Thanks for telling me, but now I need you to go ahead and go home. I'll take care of the Riddler by myself. And he drives off. Now, getting over to Riddler, we see that the Riddler had set bombs across this certain building. Now, while doing that, he is confronted by Bane. And when it comes to Bane, he injects the Riddler with venom to enhance his strength. Now, when it comes to Riddler, he wants to know, who the heck was that guy? But Bane leaves before giving all that kind of information. Now, after Bane leaves, you then have Batman arrive. And Batman realized that there are bombs across the building. But of course, his main goal is to take down the Riddler. Now for Bruce, he believes it should be an easy task. But the problem is though, it can't be, because now the Riddler has been injected with venom. His strength has been enhanced. He is now able to kind of go toe to toe with Batman. And really, he has the advantage over Batman because Bruce is still drowsy. Bruce has not gotten a complete night of rest to let his body and mind heal like it needs to. And so you have the Riddler being able to take down Bruce. Really, it's the Riddler saying, I gotta get out of here because right now my bombs are about to go off. And I do not want to be here for that. Now you do have Bruce being able to defuse the bombs, but after doing that, he finds something on the ground, a needle that has some venom on it. And for Bruce, he knows about venom. Now we have Bruce head over to the Batcave, but once he does arrive in the Batcave, you have Bruce being able to look over the needle to say, yes, on the needle there is venom, because Bruce remembers a time where he was actually hooked on venom. You see, there was a story arc called Batman Venom. Now for Bruce, while in the Batcave, he does get a call from Sandra. Now when it comes to Sandra, at first she does call to be a good doctor to make sure that he's okay, but then she also believes that the only reason why Bruce chose her to be his doctor is because long time ago he gave her a scholarship to go to school. Now you have Bruce say, yes, I did give you a scholarship, but I didn't choose you to receive that scholarship. I made the program to give the ability to kids go to school, but I left that program over to Lucius Fox. He was the one who had chose you to receive a scholarship, to go to school, to get your education. Now, the reason why I chose you to be my doctor is because Tim said you were a good doctor and you were doing an amazing job when it came to, well, his father. Now, this begins the process where you have Sandra beginning to, kind of fall in love with Bruce Wayne. Now, the following night, we do see the Riddler once again send out another riddle. And so you have Jim Gordon in the GCPD call up Batman. Now, while you have Jim and Bruce talking to one another, Bane and his crew are listening in. Now, for Bane, this time, it's time for him to test out his crew. He said, hey guys, listen. I want to see if you guys are actually able to figure out the riddle. If you are able to do that, then I want to know if you guys are able to take down the Riddler. See if you are able to accomplish this before Batman can actually pull it off. Now, we already know that when it comes to Bane's crew, they're not really able to beat Batman to the punch. And really, by the time they arrive there, you have Batman fighting the Riddler once again. And you have Bruce once again having a hard time taking someone down like the Riddler, who's now hooked on Venom. But at the tail end of the battle, when it comes to Bane crew, they kind of want to play a message where they were able to figure out the riddle. Yes, they were late, but they still have the chance to take down the Riddler before Batman does. Now, their way to take down the Riddler is to just gun him down. Shoot a bunch of bullets at the Riddler to bring him down. And so in their minds, even though Batman did solve the riddle before they did, they were the ones to actually bring down the Riddler. Now you do have Bruce go ahead and call for an ambulance because this man needs one in a hurry. Now, when it comes to Bane's crew, they do inform Bane that they were not able to solve the riddle before Batman was, but they were able to bring down the Riddler before Batman could. And so for Bane, they did not completely fail, but they were also not completely successful either. Now for Bane, he says the Riddler was just too easy for Batman. He needs something bigger, something harder to test Batman with. And so then you have Bird appear. Now Bird is one of the members to Bane's crew. And he says, listen, I got an idea. Why don't we break into Arkham Asylum and bring out all the prisoners that he has stopped, and let's cause a frenzy across Gotham City. It's the proper way to test him out, to see what he can actually do. And that should give you enough information on what to do with Batman. And so now we have to jump over to Detective Comics number 657. Now, the opening pages of this chapter, we see once again an exhausted Batman, a Batman who needs to rest. But that's the problem. He won't rest. Now, this is Alfred saying, I had enough. I am tired of you going out there trying to be Batman, but not taking the proper rest that your body actually needs. You know what? You are not going to be Batman for a couple of days. I need you to be more Bruce Wayne than Batman these next couple of days. And you're gonna do that. And for Bruce, he's kind of like, okay, fine. You know what, Alfred? If you want me to be Bruce Wayne, I'll be Bruce Wayne for a couple of days. Fine, you'll get your wish. Now, we jump over to a new character, and his name is Cypher. Now, when it comes to Cypher, he has the ability to hypnotize people by playing music. Now, when it comes to the musical track that he is playing, he's also playing a message inside the track, a way to hypnotize people, to have them under his control. And so when we jump over to this character, we see him right now using that technique on somebody to have this person commit suicide, to jump off a building. And of course, that person crashed hard and died. Now, when it comes to John Paul Valley, when Bruce Wayne brought him over to Gotham City, Bruce made sure to give John Paul a job and a life away from the Bat family. And so he said, hey, John Paul, you are going to be a security guard. And John Paul took the job very easily. But the problem is, when it comes to John Paul, he wants a high risk job. And so he overheard that one of the buildings that Bruce owns, better known as Wayne Plaza, had a couple break-ins in 1 week. And so for John Paul, he feels like he's better suited for that kind of job right there because it's a high risk job. And then maybe he'll be able to catch the ones who keep trying to break into that building. Now, when it comes to John Paul's boss, he says, listen, you were assigned here with me, and you are going to stay here with me until they tell me something different. Now, that is the exact moment where you have Bruce Wayne arrive with Lucius Fox. Now, for John Paul's boss, he said, listen, here comes the big man. You got to act right. But he had no idea that the reason why John Paul got the job so easily as a guard without any kind of background check is because he knows Bruce Wayne very well. And for John Paul's boss, he does not like the idea of one of his employees having close ties with the owner of the entire company. It shows that he is heavily protected. Now, when it comes to John Paul, later on that night, he does change into his vigilante outfit. And matter of fact, he does meet up with Tim Drake. Now, he tells Tim Drake that he got word that somebody has been trying to break into Wayne Plaza twice this week. And he feels like him and Tim should be able to handle this kind of situation as Azrael and, well, Robin. Now, when you have the two characters arrive at the building, well, they find out that somebody has just broke into the actual building. And so now it's up to them to bring down the bad guys in Wayne Plaza. Now, when it comes to Bruce Wayne, he is trying to be, well, more like Bruce Wayne. And so you have Bruce meeting up with Lucius Fox. Now, when it comes to Lucius, he wants to use Bruce to help secure a government contract. And technically, when it comes to Wayne Enterprises, they already have the contract. But the problem is, they only have a third of the contract. Let me explain. So when it came to the government, they're working on a new kind of project called Echo. Now, when it comes to Project Echo, they cut the project up into 3 different parts and gave each part to a different company. And Wayne Enterprises is one of those companies. And so Lucius is hoping to use Bruce as a way to talk to the higher ups to get the other 2 parts over to Wayne Enterprises to get more money. And so that's going to be Wayne's goal for this chapter. But I want to jump back over to Azrael and Robin as they go inside Wayne Plaza. Now, once they're able to get inside there, they realize that it's just 2 random thugs who were able to break into the place. Now, I want to focus on John Paul here because John Paul is Azrael, but he was part of the Order of St. Dumas. Now, when it comes to the Order of St. Dumas, if they had sent their avenging angel, which is Azrael, at you, you're most likely going to die because that means you had crossed the line. And again, they call him his avenging angel. They want revenge for what you have done to them. And so for Azrael John Paul Valley, he was their latest angel. Now, before him was his father, and his father was a cold killer, but his dad died. And so that led to John Paul becoming the next Azrael. But his dad made sure that his son would be ready to take up the mantle. And so over the years, he did different things to get John Paul Valley ready for the actual role. But the problem is, he is a killer. There's a killer version of himself inside his body. And sometimes that killer version pops out. And sometimes he tries to kill people. And so once you have Azrael and Robin be able to take down the 2 thugs, well, it gets to the point where you have John Paul try to kill off one of the thugs. Now, luckily, Robin was there to stop him and said, dude, you are not a killer. You're no longer part of the Order of St. Dumas. You're now part of the Bat family. And luckily, he was able to listen to Robin and step away. But this man almost used a saw to cut off the head of one of the two thugs. But getting back over to Bruce Wayne, you have Bruce failing at being able to accomplish the task that Lucius had given him. The idea of being able to bring in the other two parts of the contract, because you have the government say, listen, the reason why we have this big, huge contract given to different parts is because we want to make sure that it stays top secret, that each company only knows about what they are working on and not what the other two companies are working on. It's a way to make sure it stays top secret. And so you have Bruce realize that it does make a lot of sense, but now he feels like he had wasted time being Bruce Wayne, that this time could have been used to be Batman. But the problem is, this guy does not understand that the reason why you're so exhausted, the reason why you are mentally and physically drained is because all you do is be Batman, and you don't try to manage your two different lives and actually get rest as well. Now, getting back over to Cypher, you have Cypher once again using his ability to hypnotize people on another person to make someone else commit suicide by walking into ongoing traffic. So that person is literally dead. But the question is right now, why does he keep doing that for? But now we have to jump over to the GCPD because I want to focus on the one of the robbers we saw earlier that broke into Wayne Plaza. And here's the reason why. So you have Harvey Bullock and Renee Montoya talking to this one burglar about what happened tonight when it came to fighting against Robin in Azrael. Now for Bullock and also Renee, they believe that they were stopped by Batman and Robin, not Robin in Azrael. And you have the guy say, listen, I was technically tackled down by this new guy named Azrael, but this dude is crazy. He almost killed me. And for Bullock and also Renee, they're kind of wondering, who is this new vigilante in Gotham City? And what could he possibly do down the road if he continued to show that he's a tad bit crazy? Now, the final chapter for today's video, we got to jump over to Detective Comics number 658. Now, this final chapter does jump around between different time points. And here's the reason why. So in the first page, we pick up 15 minutes from the past, or from the present day, sorry. And we see Batman and Robin rushing to reach Lucius Fox. And we have no idea why they're trying to get to Lucius before something bad happens to him. But then the next page, we jump 10 minutes ago. So 5 minutes after the last page, where we see Lucius Fox right now on a bridge, about to jump off the bridge. And once again, we see Cypher using his ability to hypnotize people. And right now, he's trying to control Lucius to commit suicide. But once again, why is Cypher doing this for? And so now we have to jump back way in the past. So 18 hours ago, where we pick up with the FBI stopping by the GCPD to collect the two guys they caught earlier that Robin and Azrael stopped in the last chapter. Now, we're not told why the FBI came into the GCPD's building to take these guys away, but for some reason, these guys are now very important for a case the FBI is trying to build. But 2 hours after that, you didn't have Wayne Enterprises get raided by the FBI. And the reason why? Because the FBI believes that Bruce Wayne's company is somehow responsible for the death of the two guys we saw earlier that was killed off by Cypher. Because those two guys were actually presidents of the other two companies that was working on the government contract in the last chapter. And so because of that, the FBI feels like that Wayne Enterprises did something to get rid of the other two guys so that they will be able to get the other two parts of the government contract. And right now, their main suspect could be Bruce Wayne or Lucius Fox, the other president out of three companies. But 1 hour after that, we pick up with Bruce Wayne having a conversation with Alfred. Now, this conversation is really, short because you have Bruce telling Alfred, hey, I need you to message Tim to tell him tonight Batman and Robin are going out. Now for Alfred, he's kind of like, wait a second. You told me earlier that you were going to take a break from being Batman, that you were going to be more Bruce Wayne than Batman. But you have Bruce say, listen, a new thing did pop up and I have to handle it as Batman rather than Bruce Wayne. Now, when it comes to Bruce, when he kind of delivered that message, it was very cut short. Like, hey, I know what I said to you earlier, but right now I have a new problem that I have to handle. And honestly, I'm getting tired of you trying to tell me what to do with my life. I know what's best for me. Now for Lucius, this is just too much for him to handle. And so right now we see him in his office just trying to take a small nap. But while doing that, he begins to play music. And guys, music is very important for Cypher because like I said earlier, when it comes to Cypher, when it comes to him playing music around his victims, there is a message being played on that track with him saying a few words as a way to hypnotize people. And so when it comes to Lucius, he's currently listening to music. But on that track that he's currently listening to, there's a message inside of it. And right now, it is slowly beginning to hypnotize him, to allow Cypher to actually take over his mind. Now, 3 hours from the present moment, we do pick up with Batman and Robin meeting up with Azrael. Now, this is Batman saying, hey, John Paul, you work as security in my building. I want to know, has anybody strange walked into the actual place? And he says, yes, there was one guy. He looked very creepy, but we thought he was just a repairman. But now I'm thinking about it, he could have done something to Lucius. Now you have Bruce say, okay, John Paul, go back in the building, go to Lucius' office to find any kind of clue of somebody trying to do something at Lucius. Because Bruce realized what is happening right now. That basically Cypher is going after the 3 presidents of the 3 companies that was working on this government contract. And the thing is, before he kills off each of those people, he is able to collect all kinds of information about the contract. Because once he has all 3 parts of the contract, he'll then be able to give that information over to someone else in a different country to make a lot of money. And so right now, the last company up right now is Wayne Enterprises, which is Lucius Fox, the only president alive out of all 3 companies. And so you have Bruce say, me and Tim here, we're going to find Lucius and we are going to shadow him while you, Azrael, look through his office, find any clues that can help us to find the bad guy for this situation. But by the time Bruce figured everything out, he's already too late because now 2 hours from the present moment, we pick up with Lucius Fox leaving his house. And his wife and daughter, they're very concerned for their husband and father, wondering, where in the world is he going? But he is so short with them, they're kind of freaked out how he responded to their questions. But now we know that technically at this moment, he is under Cypher's control and going to a certain location. But after that, you have Bruce Wayne call up his wife saying, hey, I am trying to find Lucius. Where is he? And she says, you just missed him. He just left. But when he left here, he seemed very worried. What is going on with my husband? Now for Bruce, he has to lie to her because he knows that her husband is most likely in danger, which means that sooner or later, there is a possibility that he could die. Now, the rest of the book is really more of Batman and Robin arriving what they believe just in time to actually save Lucius. But in reality, they were just a tad bit too late. He did jump off the bridge, but luckily for our heroes, Azrael was nearby to grab Lucius and to bring him back over to the bridge safely. And you didn't have Batman and Robin being able to take down Cypher. And with that happening, that really wraps up the prelude of Knightfall. And so now we are able to jump into Knightfall properly and get into the most craziest, wild Batman event of all time. But with that being said, this is where we are going to end today's comic book video. So please leave me a like down below and subscribe. But guys, see y'all next time. Later.